The Daily Graphic this morning says free SHS is success. President Akufo-Addo says so. He said that at Tamasco. That's in this school. Well, unvaccinated arrivals at KIA to take COVID-19 jabs and 15,000 rape cases annually. Dopsu described as alarming. Access Bank builds capacity of SMEs in the Western region. The back page, King Faisal backs Sharks to jump to the top spot and Karela devour Lions 3-0. The Ghanaian Times, President touts free SHS successes, slams critics, saying, I'm proud of policy and its results. Also, Operation Clean Your Frontage set to take off with 27 heavy-duty truck drivers. And government to construct 35 STEM SHSs, 5 varsities. Education Minister says so. Integrity is pivotal in combating illegal mining. Lands Minister. The BNFT, investor sentiments turn in economy's favor. And 27 heavy-duty truck drivers ready for Operation Clean Your Frontage. And decline in donor funding reduces agric budget by 12.9%. Ghana's GSC seeks decline in index for 4 weeks. The Finder newspaper says, I support Keta Sea defense, but against NDC's political hostage. Napo is saying, he says he will go on a demonstration if it's included. Has he rescinded his mind, or is only a fool who doesn't change his mind, I think. NPP bans all activities associated with internal party contests. Yababia somewhere is there. Is he contesting again? I don't know. Well, solidarity among Africans will change situations irreversibly. President Akufo-Addo. And free SHS results clear. All doubts about its validity and quality, President Akufo-Addo says so. The Daily Guide is my final newspaper for this morning. It says, confusion over WASI results, integrity needed for mining sector regulation, and PAFAG supports tax reduction. NPP gets tough on aspirants at Congress, and free SHS critics shamed, I beg your pardon, with eggs on their faces. Nana Prempe, good morning to you. And my guest this morning, Mr. Richard Nyama. He is a Deputy National Communications Director of the NPP. He's also special aide to the NPP's National Chairman, Freddie Blay. And also with him is Honorable Alhassan Suhini. He is the Member of Parliament for the Tamale North constituency. Gentlemen, welcome. Good morning. How are you doing?
Thank you. Good morning, Johnny. Hope you're
Rich,
well.
I'm alive.
Thank God.
Sir Rich, how are you?
I'm good, my brother.
Always good to see you.
You too.
Sharp.
You committed sacrilege a while ago
Oh,
when you suggested that where the president spoke over the weekend might have been my school.
oh, Tamasco.
No,
That's not your school.
I went to a better school.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, I went to a better school.
Which is your school?
Ghana school, Ghana Secondary.
It's not Tamasco. Sorry about that.
There's Sanargo Senior High before.
The ODS is Sanarigu Senior High.
Yeah.
So it's a smaller school.
I mean,
They will not be happy with you. ABF Fusini will not be happy with you.
well, they are old but not classic. I mean, they are 10 years older than my school, but unfortunately for them, we've always done better.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I won't argue with you.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean,
when you people go back, you can do your thing. Not part
yeah, I
of
mean,
it.
we President Mahama came from that school.
Okay.
In fact, got Lordina Mahama in that school also. And as we speak currently, about 22 members of parliament are graduates of that school.
Oh, wow.
And I think it is the biggest number any school has ever produced in any, parliament. So I went to a better school, Ghana Secondary, not Tamasco.
Okay.
But for, my affection towards you, I would have asked for a ship
I apologize.
to appease the
I
gods.
apologize.
Thank you.
I apologize.
Thank
Except to say that it will be an e-ship.
Anyway, congratulations to my friends who were unfortunate to go to Tamasco. They had their successful 70th anniversary celebration over the weekend.
They were unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, they tried,
I hear you. Thank you very much. And thanks to Sonar Fashions in Tamale for my outfit. 0246590162. That's 0246590162. He's in Kuko, in Tamale, and you can always get something special from him. That's where Ghana school is.
Kuko.
Oh, that's where your school is. Okay. All right. Let me start with you, Richard, on this one. The WASI results. There have been varied views. I'm sure you've perused through the concerns that have come here and there. Some say it is a failure. The president insists it is a success. Some are worried about the science, maths, and English score sheet, and they say it is not the best for us if you want to progress, and given the investments we have made in that direction. What do you say?
Let me say good morning to all your viewers and my brother and yourself. And I'd rather you put out the numbers.
Okay.
So that I will speak to them specifically. Because
So
somebody says it's a failure. What is he comparing it to?
So I'm reading from the Finder newspaper, page 9 of Elvis Daku's Finder newspaper. It says A1 to C6 English. That's 54.08% in 2021 compared to 51.6% in 2016. And A1 to C6, that's for science, 65.70% in 2021 compared to 48.35 in 2016. A1 to C6 maths, 54.11 compared to 33.12 in 2016. And then A1C6 social studies, 66.03 in 2021 compared to 54.55 in 2016. So that's those are the figures. I'm wondering why the Finder decided to do 2016 2021 instead. I don't know, but these are the figures as I found it here.
Yeah, so from what you read, is there a failure?
I don't answer
compared?
I don't answer questions.
No. You asked the question.
Yes.
But for the fact that I asked you to read it out, this is going to be embedded in the minds of people that the results is a failure. Meanwhile, if you took maths alone, it's virtually double, almost double what it was in 2016. Why 2016? 2017 was when the free SHS started, okay? And this year is the product. They are those entering the university right now. So if you're doing the comparison, which period would you compare it to? So that is the basis for the comparison. And I'm saying that if you took the 3 core subjects or 4 that qualify you into a tertiary institution, a university, the results have shown a tremendous increase. Maths used to be a phobia subject. For it to move from 33% to 54, is it 56%? That is huge. Because the 20-something plus 21, 22% that failed in 2016 could not have made it under any circumstance into a tertiary institution unless they rewrite. So on that score alone, you have about a 26%, 25, 22% probability rate of you going into the university or any tertiary institution. You take the same for English. And these were the 2 major stumbling blocks. Then science, all of them, those major benchmarks. For social studies, it looks like our educational curriculum makes it easier for people to pass in that area because we are people that like to talk. So the practical subjects that have to do with you doing some major thing out of talking, the sciences and the maths, have always been a problem. For me, if that barrier has been broken per this, we are on the right course. Now, it presents a new challenge.
Which is?
Because from the figures I have seen, we have moved from a situation where we had between 30 to 40% passing for tertiary education to about 60% or a little above even 60, now qualifying to go there, which then means that the base, which is free SHS or the SHS level, has shifted. We'll have to create and improve a lot of access at the tertiary level.
But that's why you put together the Professor Yanka committee to look at how to inject them into the university system. I've not seen the report.
It is ongoing, and I am making the point that, look, so now that the base has increased and has improved output, it's also going to increase the tertiary level education.
But that's what I'm saying, that you started free SHS in 2017.
Yes.
Since that time, we have had, last year we had some graduates.
Yes.
The year before we had some graduates. This year we have graduates. And we know what the situations are in our public universities particularly. You had a Professor Kwesi Yanka committee that's supposed to look at these. The president set up the committee. What are their recommendations and how is that impacting on the numbers coming from the lower stream to the upper stream? That's the question I'm asking.
That report I have no knowledge about, but I am aware more universities are being put up. I am aware there are, on the existing campuses, there are expansions going on, lecture halls and all those things increasing. There has been a request by, I think, the universities as well to increase capacity in terms of the number of lecturers, to reduce student-lecturer ratios and all those things. It's a gamut of things. But for me, the most important is that our literacy rate, would largely improve. And your literacy rate, especially when it is practical in the sciences and the maths, makes it more possible for you to be employable than where we currently are in the social sciences. Because per the results, people are now doing very well in the sciences as well. And that is why the emphasis to move towards technical, vocational education, the TVETs, are very important. I'm aware that in that area, for instance, too, there's an expansion. They're supposed to put up about 54 new...
The engineers say they have not been paid. In the coming days, I'll bite on that.
Engineers of what?
They sent with those who are constructing those buildings.
So at least the buildings are being constructed.
But they are hungry. The engineers are hungry.
The most important thing is that the job is being done.
But on an empty stomach.
Johnny, can I? Is it every engineer you've spoken to?
I've spoken to 8 of them.
8 of them. If 54 are being built and 8 of them have complained, why do you think it is such?
The rest may not come to complain.
They may not come to complain. I think we should, as much as possible, look at the positive side of it. If you are using this to condemn, are you saying that the project is not?
I'm saying that the people
so let me
who
make
are
the
spoken
point.
To me say they are hungry.
Yes. On what basis did you even come to the conclusion that they haven't? It's possible even between the time you spoke to them and now they've been paid.
I spoke to them 3 days ago.
It doesn't matter, Johnny. The
It
most
doesn't
important,
matter.
Johnny, I think sometimes you are too cynical.
I am.
In your approach.
I am.
You see, I am making a point that you have a visionary president that has improved your basic education from JSS to secondary education, where the least certificate you should have as a Ghanaian is secondary. The results, people were poo-pooing it and saying that they will not do well. It's a mass something. The results have come. There is an indication they are doing well. Now, it's creating a capacity issue at the top. And you are asking, how are we solving it? I'm giving you solutions and I'm pointing out to the practical solutions going on. And it's like 8 out of 54 buildings are complaining. And so the program, is it a failure or what?
I didn't say that.
Yes. So please, let me make the point.
No, I think you
the
are being
point I'm
cynical
making
now.
is that there is an expansion at the tertiary level as well. There's an expansion in technical education and vocational education. And these structures are being put up in recognition of the fact that there are going to be more people coming out of these places.
Richard, don't you think that we are focusing on the top rather than the bottom? Because up until tomorrow, there will still be schools at the basic level where girls cannot go to school because it's that time of the month and they can't find a place to swap their parts. It will still be a problem at the basic level where a teacher who is posted to a school to go and teach ICT cannot have access to a computer and would have to use stones to teach the children how a mouse navigates. So we seem to be focusing at the top because the numbers are huge.
John, I think you have been left behind.
I have.
Yes.
Okay.
All teachers in this country, government or public schools, okay, are being provided 352,000 laptops. You have had the unions come and
they
make
don't
them.
have the laptops.
Oh, please.
Not all of them. The teachers will be angry with
Please, Johnny, I think you should allow me to make.
you. Go ahead. But I'm saying to you that the
the
teachers
interjection
will be
is
angry
too
with
much,
you.
and I did rather you let me flow. One, teachers have been provided 352 or so thousand laptops.
That's not correct.
And so far, at least 40,000 of them have been sent.
I agree.
The issue is that they currently among themselves are having issues.
Which are?
Because number one, they are complaining that the procurement processes and blah 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 blah. Now it has come out that it was the unions that did the procurement and did the selection and brought the details and had a negotiation with government. Government then agreed that we'll pay 70% and you pay 30%. Even the 30% you are paying, it is going to come from your what do you call it? Government allowance that they give you annually for your capacity building, including this computers, which amounts to about 1,200. So if you did the computation, the teacher was paying in the region of 500.
Okay.
And the 500 was going to be taken out of this 1,002 that he's getting at the end of the year. Now the teacher unions have come out and indicated that no, this we sat down and broached this idea, brought it to government. Government accepted it, adopted it. We did the selection ourselves. They have nothing to do with it. So please use the product. If not, and I asked a particular question on that issue.
A laptop.
Yes. What softwares? Because I have a teaching background. I taught from primary school to secondary school to the university level. What software are on those
Laptops.
to aid teaching and learning? Yes. And if you are at the basic level, even up to the secondary, even at the university level, they call something lesson notes.
That's right.
Yes. They've put a software in there that makes it easier for you to
Did
do.
we prepare the people
They have put
with skills before we give them the technology? Or we're now
which
going
skills?
to do
There's no teacher that doesn't know how to prepare lesson notes, and then unless you didn't
it?
go
I'm
through
saying the
teaching.
software. Did you prepare people for the
Capacity
skills?
building is part of the.
You know it has been done,
I'm saying that capacity building
but you know
is
it has
part
been
of
done.
the costing of the laptop.
Has
Yes,
it been
they are
done?
supposed to have been taught how to use it.
Has it been done?
Are you listening to me?
I'm asking
I'm
you.
saying that the laptop that they are giving to them, the softwares on them, okay, how to use them is part of the costing. So once you are given it, you are taught how to use it. So if you haven't received it, how do you learn how to use something that you haven't had yet?
And you know
So
it has
those
been
that
done.
have been deployed to have been taught how to use it.
Okay.
So there is a process that is ongoing. All these things you are identifying. Girls not having
A place to swap their parts.
yes.
Persons living with disability. We still build 6 classroom units without a place for disabled people. Persons living with disability.
Currently, the structures are being modified to accommodate those things. I think it was even under the NDC that the pad components were introduced. So we have moved on.
Can we, for example, talk about the fact that we spend money on past questions. Last year, this year, about 60 something million CDs. And these are the results we are getting. Could we have done better?
If somebody was getting 33% and they are now somewhere 56%, you don't think it's a quantum leap?
For example, English was getting 51% in 2016. Now it's making 54%.
Yeah.
Science, general science was making 48%. It's now making 65%. Maths was making 33%. It's now making 54%.
Yes.
And then social studies was making 54%. Now it's making 63%.
Yes.
Would you attribute
You wanted 100%.
Would you attribute this to the past questions we bought?
Why will I attribute it to past questions? It's a whole gamut of things. Okay, the teaching processes, the contact hours have increased. When the process started, people were complaining that due to the shift system, or what do we call it, the green, yellow thing. Yes,
Double
but you see,
track.
the double track system. The thing had been changed from a trimester to a semester, and contact hours were going to reduce. But when you go right now and go and look at it, the contact hours have rather increased, but the time spent, duration per term has reduced, because you do virtually twice what you are supposed to do in the previous time. So you have increased contact hours, you have increased the practicality of it, you are building teachers' capacity. It's a whole thing going on, and the recognition has been given it. So let's not. Would we rather were in the 2016 situation where a majority of them, virtually 70% failed maths, to around 40 now? Is that not a tremendous improvement? Obviously, we would want to be better. And so if the question is, can we do better? Obviously, yes.
I hear you.
Do we need to do past questions? It depends on who is buying it.
Let Alaji come in.
Using of past questions is an aspect of every exam preparation. I do not know anyone that goes into an exam without referencing past questions and solving the equations and questions.
Thank you. Let's be fair to Alaji. Alaji, step in for me.
Right.
What do you think? You're also a former teacher. So it's good to have two teachers on my network this morning.
Right.
What do you say to the readings of the results?
Johnny, first of all, I think that I will speak to the data later.
Okay.
Because if you go out there, the data is analyzed differently.
That's right.
Some people analyze it to indicate that we could have done much better.
Right.
And others also analyze it in the way the finder captures it today. But that's not my concern for now. My concern is with, Johnny, unfortunately, the attitude of our president.
How?
They say that when you go through life seeing everything as a nail, you carry a hammer along. That I mean, to put it the way they say, that if you go through life seeing everything as a nail, then
Come with an hammer.
you always go with a hammer. And for a man of his caliber, his experience, and his age, you will think that he will be more sober. You think that he will be more tolerant, and he will be more open-minded. But it seems to me that he sees everything as a competition.
That's not fair to him.
No, true. I mean, he sees everything as a competition to win. At his age and with his experience, you'll expect him to be less competitive. So only recently, issues about corruption came out. And he was on national TV, beating his chest and boasting about how he has dealt with corruption and saved the economy. Maybe if I say I do, will be seen to be political. But the GIA, only last week, came out strongly at him, listing a number of disappointments that they have recorded in his fight against corruption. Free SHS is not the first time. Remember what he said about media houses waging campaign against free SHS? And there he goes again, beating his chest. But Johnny, what are the issues? What are the issues? Only about a couple of weeks ago, when the finance minister came to present the budget statement,
17th November,
the police had to cordon off Parliament because UNICEF and other non-governmental organizations in the field of education had, they were demonstrating basically with placards in front of Parliament because of the lack or poor attention, not lack, poor attention given to basic education and how funding to basic education is suffering. These are not politicians. These are people who have worked in this country all these years, supporting all governments to improve education. If they are complaining that basic education is suffering, you don't tell them that they are critics.
Richard says it's a process.
You don't taunt them.
Process.
You don't taunt them.
It's a process.
I'm saying, yes, even if it is a process, but you don't taunt those who are saying that, look, we have a problem here. But that's what he does all the time.
But if they know the back end story, why do they come public to demonstrate, to make it look as if somebody's not doing it?
I am saying that these are institutions that have been in this country all these years, have worked with all governments to improve education. If at this stage they are having to employ demonstrations and picketing to draw attention, and even that they get taunted by the president, it tells you that there's something wrong. There's something wrong. And that which is wrong, in my view, starts with the attitude of the president.
Are we not gazumping the government too much so that at every turn we are telling them what we want them to do, not what they have intended to do?
Johnny,
they give us a manifesto, by the way.
Yes, and we didn't elect them to take their business seriously. We elected them to take our business seriously.
But you can't stampede them.
Then they should get out. In fact, I recall, some of them telling President Mahama some time ago that if he cannot stand the heat in the kitchen, he should get out.
General Nunu Mensah, that's
No, not even General Nunu. Occupy Ghana demonstrations. And
but General Nunu Mensah.
Yeah, he's also said that before.
The kitchen is
I'm talking about Occupy Ghana demonstrations, where they said that, we employ them to work for us. So it's not about what they want us to do. I mean, that attitude is in, again, what the president told the chief in the Volta region when he complained about the infrastructure that is abandoned, that go complete it. And I'm saying, for a man with his age and experience, you'll expect a little more soberness. You expect him to be more open-minded and reflective about the
So
issues.
now this is the commitment to education, reinforcing government's commitment to ensuring the provision of quality, relevant education. President Akufo-Addo told the gathering that the government has introduced the teacher licensure regime aimed at professionalizing teaching and bringing it in line with international best practices. 129,000 teachers have been licensed. 20 STEM centers are undergoing construction. 1,119 projects of SHS infrastructure intervention has been done. So clearly, some projects progress has been made. Correct,
Johnny? What I'm saying is that, look, I said it some time ago when this whole policy began as a former teacher.
Right.
And I'm happy you made reference to that when we began.
A teacher is always a teacher.
Always a teacher, yes.
Richard is also a teacher.
I've always
I feel very
teach my kids.
I feel very disturbed.
Right.
So I am not too surprised about some of the things that are happening now and the complaints that are coming from education watchers. I predicted when this policy began in 2017 that we may not feel the full impact or the full effects of what we are doing to education now until perhaps after a decade. And I am not surprised that even before a decade, education watchers are beginning to speak out about what is going through, what is happening to education in general, especially at the basic level. Nobody in the past, even when this debate started, was ever against the introduction of free SHS. Forget the propaganda. If you listened with an open mind, it was clear that all parties in this country supported the idea of making education free at the senior high level. Indeed, it is in our constitution.
Right.
And so that idea did not just start even in 2016 or 2012. It started in 1992 when we put it in our constitution that education will be progressively free.
Right, but it was perfected by President Akufo-Addo.
No, Johnny.
He put a name to it.
That is Johnny.
Put a program to it. A structure to
that
it.
is the difference I'm trying to make here. Okay. I said nobody has ever been against the introduction of free education at the senior high level.
Right.
The difference between what Nana Akufo-Addo is doing and what perhaps others wanted to do was to progressively make it free, dealing with the issues one after the other. Progressive, systematic introduction of that policy, so that you do not get overwhelmed with the problems as we are being overwhelmed today. So that was the only difference. So Nana Akufo-Addo said, no, let's not be progressive, let's not be systematic, let's not be thoughtful, let's just jump in and God will take care of us. And with our collective effort, we'll take care of whatever will arise. That was the difference. The difference was a systematic, progressive, thoughtful approach against a bulldoze approach.
Do you think
that was the difference?
Do you think we have wasted investment?
Johnny, I am not going to speak again for myself. Go and look at the PIAC 2018-2019 report on education. It clearly outlines how badly we have done in terms of, the output that we are getting compared to the resources that we are putting in. Go and read the report.
Do you think the report is fair?
It talks, PIAC is supposed to be an independent body.
It is.
Yes.
But is the report fair?
Of course. I mean, they do field visits before they come up with this report. And they talk, for example, about performance, in schools as a result, going down as a result of dumping. In fact, they use that word dumping. And that students are dumped, in especially less privileged schools. And so a system that is supposed to be inclusive, give everybody equal opportunity, creates an exclusion where peoples who are not so bright are dumped in schools that are not so privileged, and so their future is already condemned.
But the CSSP has came to change that. So now you have people with aggregate 30, 29, for example, at Presec, at Chimota, you find them all over the place.
But what I'm saying, that's what the PIAC report is talking about. Okay. No, it didn't change that. It's rather the placement system that has created the dumping, where poor students, obviously, I mean, if you are poor, you won't get your first and second choice. And the first and second choice are always the top schools.
But is it not because...
And so they are all dumped in already... I mean, so if you are not good, the system is like the pyramid. So if you are not good, you continue going down.
But is it not because we have not...
And that's just one of the problems. I was talking about the resources. We are not doing the
cutoff point like we used to do in our case, where if you didn't have a certain aggregate, you will not get into a certain school. Is that not why?
I didn't get the question.
So now there's really no cutoff point. Even if you had aggregate 60, you will still find a school to attend. Is that not the reason? So are we encouraging the children to be studious enough?
Exactly. So that's another problem that has been found by this PIAC report I'm making reference to. And it's not the only report. Go and read not even read, follow the media. I mean, the president, when he was complaining about a media house, they had done a documentary where they outlined a number of problems that they had found. I mean, they found with this system. The GS and others were spoken to. They all admitted to these problems. Look, they talked about lack of accommodation. Yes, the president says they are resolving it. Couldn't we have done that progressively, like the previous government started, by putting up the infrastructure first before you dump the students there and now begin to deal with it? What is the sense in that? But yes, the president says, as a result of this policy, we have had this situation where even double track is not able to, contain the number of students. They have also talked about congestion in classrooms. That is congestion at the level of dormitories, then congestion in classrooms. Even with double track, you still have students sleeping on the floor. You still have students sitting on the floor, in fact, sitting on windows to take notes and all of that. This used to happen at the university level. We hadn't finished dealing with that, and but we
are making progressive infrastructure.
I am saying that there was a choice.
Okay.
There was a choice to deal with the infrastructure progressively as you dealt with the introduction of education, the free education. There was a choice, but this government chose to rather jump in without caution. And so when we are confronted with these problems, we need to be sober in addressing these problems. Are we not
looking at the numbers of children who would have been on the streets without the benefit of secondary school education? Because the figures show that the numbers have increased. So would we rather have had them roaming and not being in school than being in school and still have to grapple with a few of the issues you're talking about?
Look, these reports that I speak of also talk about inconvenience relating to erratic schedules. My brother here was talking about, the double track increasing contact hours. It is not correct. Per the reports, indeed, the double track system has not improved contact hours. What it has rather done is that teachers no longer have holidays. So the teachers who, are supposed to be in school all year round still are having to depend on the same salaries that they have been getting. Is that fair to the teacher? Is that fair? Somebody who used to perhaps do 6-7 months in a year so he could check his how far with the remaining months, so he could make an extra income to, complement the teacher's salary, no longer has that opportunity. But that has not, even by the report, led to increase in contact hours. What the report identifies, however, is that students now report on time to school because they don't have to wait for school fees.
I hear you.
But it has not led to increase in contact hours. So clearly, the president must stop that, chest beating and
the lizard that fell from the high Iroko tree says, if nobody praises me, I'll praise myself.
He must get sober. He must begin to be reflective. He must begin to be open-minded. He must begin to understand that the future, these children and these parents are worried about is at stake. And, he has had his second term. He's lived his life. He's plus 70. That may not be his concern, but that is the concern of parents today. That is the concern of the children today, the future.
I hear you.
And so that can only be made brighter if the problems that are identified, which are real, are confronted, together.
I hear you.
And solutions found to them.
I hear you. Dr. Park is a deputy ranking member on the Committee of Education in Parliament. He writes, says, Akufo-Addo compares free SHS WAEC results to the records of Mahama. President Akufo-Addo should be telling us what he has done to address the challenges debilitating effective teaching and learning in our secondary schools since he took over power and retained it through ways and means. He puts that in parentheses. Now, even when Ghanaians rejected him, including beneficiaries of free SHS, he should stop gloating over results some suggest were procured through engineering, again in parentheses, and comparing that to genuine results obtained by students under his predecessor, John Mahama. Akufo-Addo must be living in another planet or on another planet, or his handlers must have misled him to compare his engineered results procured through massive leakages, malpractices and cheating with the complicity of an examination body, WAEC, whose integrity is currently in question to the authentic and organic results under JDM. John Mahama didn't procure and supply past examination questions and examiners' report as part of an effort to cover up monumental challenges affecting teaching and learning at the secondary school level: obnoxious double track, erratic academic calendar, overworked teacher and unteaching staff, inadequate and unwholesome food, inadequate space and furniture, culture of silence, lack of adequate core subject textbooks, delay in release of funds, among others. John Mahama built new secondary schools, expanded existing schools, didn't punish school heads for speaking out, didn't overburden teachers and non-teaching staff, didn't supply expired, unwholesome and food items to schools, and the John Mahama 22 SHS didn't score 0. And the Akufo-Addo 22 schools scored 0 in 2020. We pray it's not the case this year. Dr. Basanaba Park is MP for Busa South and the deputy ranking member on education. That's what he said. No, I won't allow you now. I won't allow. It's Richard's time. It's Richard's turn. Richard, do you permit?
Please, just one small point.
I should permit him.
You see, and I'm happy we are both teachers. I get worried also when we reduce education to examination and whether students pass exams or not. Education should be seen in a broader context beyond passing exams. And the text that, APAC sends, to some extent, highlights that, where we are reducing, how well students are doing to just passing exams. Because education goes beyond passing exams. And the reports I referred to, for example, talks about, little attention that is being given to semester examinations and minimal contact hours.
Your time is up.
I mean, these are Senior, the ways to prepare students for life.
Senior, step in for me.
Not just to pass exams.
Senior, where do we go from here? We have teased out the issues, but where do we go from here? What do we do now?
Let me say good morning to my senior chief, APAC, and tell him that his propaganda piece is not very helpful to the debate. Okay. One, all the things he's enumerated, let's say if they were true, just happened under this government. If NDC had actually resolved the educational issues the way they were supposed to, will we have this conversation in the first place? So you should take a second look at yourself when you are saying it. But in any case, you're talking about teaching contact hours. I am saying that the hours have increased to, I think about, it used to be about 5-6 hours, it's about 7-8 now. People may not probably appreciate it. When the students were not doing well, it was like, okay, now they are doing well, we have a problem with day passing, and that the results was procured. They wrote the exams, is West Africa. The Ghanaian results is the best ever in the whole sub-region. Ghana procured the results from WAEC because the passing rate has been so high. So there's something wrong
WAEC's
with
integrity is questionable.
Because of that, you are questioning why we procured past questions for the students. We say we are doing free SHS. Past questions is part of the free stuff we are giving them for them to improve and learn. And you have a problem with it. So we should have made the parents continue to buy the past questions. I hope and pray that Education Ministry will revert to a situation where the parents will do the buying, so that you will be happy, if that is what you want.
Do you really wish for that?
But that is the complaint. You ask the question, why do you spend 60-something million buying, procuring past questions for students? So that money should not be used for that purpose. I'm saying that GES, I pray that you stop buying past questions. Let the parents procure that to do that, so that Johnny and anyone that has a problem with it will be happy.
I don't have a problem with it.
You're talking about
we went to school. Nobody bought past questions. Did they buy you past questions?
I used to buy them.
Yes, we all
used to buy them.
them.
I'm saying that in my time there was no free SHS.
Right.
So I was paying for everything. That's the point. So if the government says they are doing it for you for free and they are procuring it, and you don't see it as part of the package, then that is your wahala. But we are talking about basic education. You said PIAC says there's a problem.
Right.
What exactly is the problem they have identified?
I didn't talk about PIAC. I wasn't referring
because
to
you referred to PIAC.
PIAC was to senior high schools.
UNICEF,
UNICEF and other institutions are complaining about basic schools. That's what
if you go right now to basic education, basic schools, they will tell you there has been an improvement in the amount of food that is being given to kids.
But the quality,
and there's a correlation.
The quality
of it depends on the location. If you have
seriously, you want us to talk about the
if
free,
if you are talking about the location
that has the school.
The lady
where's
cooking the food.
And why?
If the lady is Adwa Safo in charge of cooking,
no, I'm talking about school.
There's a head
you want
of
us to
that
talk about
unit
school feeding
who is
program.
doing it.
Why
And
is
it is
Adwa Safo at
ongoing.
large?
Please.
Why is Adwa Safo at large?
Why the heckling?
You want me to tell you?
She's not at large.
Why the heckling?
Well, she's at
She's
large.
on leave.
Is she?
Why the heckling?
Yes.
I'm saying that there is a CEO in charge of that, and that department is
Kwashiga, you mean?
The point is this:
And what happened to her?
free SHS
Sacked and brought back.
And if you are
Sacked
if you
for
care
why?
to know,
What reason?
most of
And
the
brought back for what
most
reason?
of the foods are now being procured locally. But if you have a cook in my village who doesn't know how to cook as well as the one in Accra, you
It's
obviously
because
will have
the jobs to party women organizers.
Why was Mrs.
party
Kwashiga
women
sacked?
organizers are not Ghanaians.
No, you give the job to
Do
them.
they know how to cook?
Do they not
Do
know?
they know how to cook?
What's
Do
the
they know how
quality
to
of the
cook?
food?
And Johnny, I'm asking you, if we are even giving to party women, are they not Ghanaians? Don't they have blood running
Do
through
they
them?
get, no, it's not about blood
So
running
who do
through
you want us to give it to?
It's not about the blood
Your
running
wife?
through you. No, my wife.
So what's your
my wife
problem?
will not do public
Yeah,
feeding.
so that is the point. If the person doesn't know how to cook, you cannot generalize it that we are giving poor food everywhere, because the nutritional value of the food, and there are listed foods because of the nutritional
do you know that the
purposes of the
nutritional
food.
value of the food has an impact on teaching and learning?
I am saying it
It
was part of my paper, my MPhil,
Right.
and I'm saying that there is a direct correlation with food and nutrition and school attendance and pass rates.
I see.
It has been established. So in any case, that project, when it started under Kufuor, became perfected. Okay.
Amakutu 4.
Yes, and it has been perfected. The numbers have increased. You will appreciate it when you come and you see the budgetary allocations to these places. We will see. But he said that the NDC
Quickly.
under no circumstance was against the free SHS. My brother, I beg to differ. You went to the Supreme Court to even stop this. You placed 40 adverts against free SHS prior to the elections 2016. You were against this. You went to Supreme Court.
Take a look.
You cannot tell us
Take a
that
look
you were
at
for it.
the inside of the laptops provided to the teachers. I'll come to you. I'll give you your 2 minutes as well. Now that's the inside of the laptop. This is from one of the teacher groups. They sent me this. They said, well, there's no space in it for memory upgrade. So even if they want to upgrade, they don't. The teachers have started opening the laptops and they are checking the insides of the laptop. This is the laptop that's been provided for them, and they are paying some 30% for it. I don't know, but a friend of mine who's a teacher watched and said, "Me share me i3 and me iMac na. This laptop is an insult." That's what the teacher said.
Why doesn't the teacher buy an i3 or an iMac? Because an iMac you procure for 5,000. They provide this you for 1,500. You are complaining.
I'm not a teacher. Well, you provide for them and they are paying half.
Yes.
Would you tell
they are not paying half. They're paying 30%.
Would you tell the
government is paying 1,050? They are paying 500. And I'm saying that if you want an HP, you want an Acer, you want a Toshiba, they are selling 5,000-6,000. Which teacher in this country right now is prepared to pay for that?
What is this brand?
If you want that,
the laptop. What brand is the laptop?
Ask him. He sent it to you. Why don't you ask him?
Okay. So I hear you. So you need to take your 2 minutes. Because if you provide a laptop without a brand,
if he wants an iPad or an whatever, ask him to go and buy it.
He should go and buy it.
Yes, because we are procuring uniformly for everybody. If he thinks that, if you think his level is an iPad or an whatever, he should go and buy one.
You're asking them to pay for 30%. Will you tell the soldiers to buy their own bullet?
Buy what they bullets?
That we have guns for you, but buy your own bullet to go and protect the country.
What are you talking about?
They are paying 30% for something that they will use to teach their children.
They are not using to teach the children necessarily.
But you said that they will use it to do prepare lesson notes.
But if you are preparing lesson notes on the laptop, so if they teach what do we call it? What is the correlation between the teacher and then the soldier you are talking about here? You are providing them professional capacity building. Okay. Under some other regimes, they were not even chalk to use. They procured. Ask them. The 100,000 NDC procured for them. How long did it last? What was the name of the yes.
Okay.
When I was a teacher, I never got a laptop.
I hear you.
Even teaching lesson notebooks. They were these 20 sheets notebooks.
We need to go.
You have graduated. They give you this, and you want an iPad. Go and buy it.
We need to go. Okay.
Unbelievable.
Enter for me, Sweeney.
Unbelievable arrogance. Unbelievable disrespect.
No, I'm surprised you are saying that it's arrogant. The man says that he wants an iPad.
Allow him to.
And government should procure 350,000 iPads for teachers in this country.
My time is finished.
Are you serious?
My time is finished.
My prayer has always been that I should not get this intoxicated with power. If I ever
I'm not intoxicated with power. I'm being very practical with you.
Richard, your mic is off.
You see,
your mic is off. Sweeney, please take. No.
Johnny,
allow him.
Is it everything?
No. Let's be fair to Alaji.
Please.
Are you being fair to the government when somebody says he wants an iPad?
Let's be fair to him. Let's be fair to him.
Do you think
our time is up? Let's be fair to him.
It's a sign. What you are doing is a sign of a drowning person in an argument.
Can we be fair to him?
You are drowning. You are drowning in this argument. Let me just address. Let me just. You are drowning in this argument. That is why.
Sorry if you feel insulted. Sorry.
It's an English phrase.
Go ahead. Well, we've been taking.